All right, welcome everybody. Today is April 15th. Oh, it's tax day. Look at that. 2026. Welcome to the Business with Purpose TV show. This is where we spotlight authors, entrepreneurs, and members of our community, our Business with Purpose community, building businesses that are aligned with their purpose. We've really created this amazing community of super heart-centered, purpose-driven business owners. So I'm Sue Brooke.
And I'm Chuck Casto, and you might remember us from a little show called Align for Success. And yes, we are back and we're better than ever, but this time it's bigger than just a show. We're really part of a movement. And that's what this is all about. So, along with our nonprofit Business with Purpose, our mission is simple. We empower entrepreneurs to build businesses and lives aligned with their purpose through community, education, and personal growth. And if you haven't joined us yet, please come hang out with us in the Business with Purpose group on Alignable. So that's it for the intros. I am ready to get this show on the road here. How about you, Sue?
I sure am, Chuck. So every week on Business with Purpose TV, we like to call it BWP TV. We bring you real stories, and you're going to hear some really great ones today from real hardworking entrepreneurs. And I don't know if there's any more hardworking entrepreneurs than the two that are on the screen with us here today. So we talk about every week their journeys, the challenges that they go through, any turning points. We all know those happen all the time, right? And the moment that led them to the work they're doing now. So, because your business is built with purpose, and I think pretty much every entrepreneur has built their business because of that. It really does. Your business doesn't just grow; it actually means something. Today's conversation, we're going to hit our, is probably going to hit home with a lot of you. You're going to hear some really good, maybe a little heart-wrenching story or two here, especially. So if you've ever wondered, could I really share my story? That's what we're going to answer today. So we're going to kick things off with two incredible guests. One is a longtime friend of mine who because I live in a motorhome, I use her address as my address in Texas. So we know each other
Oh,
really.
that's the secret.
I
Okay.
know, is that cool? And Michael, who is a kind of a new friend of mine that I've met, I live out here in Phoenix with him, and we meet up at a lot of our Alliance events. And he has a really fun business you're going to hear about. So I'm super excited to have you both here on today's episode. So let's go, Chuck.
Okay. So let's look at, we want to start with you, Michael. Okay. And I want to make sure you're unmuted. It kind of looks like you're muted.
You
No?
guys
Oh,
can
there we
post.
go. Great. Okay. Terrific. So tell us the name of your business. I know it's right behind us, but why don't you say it anyway? Your little free advertising and what you do and how you ever came up with this business.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chuck. My name is Michael Gallegos. I'm the CEO of the Desert Donuts franchise. We've got three shops now, one in Arizona and two in Colorado. And the reason why it exists today is I had owned a construction business for the last over decade. And I thought I might be making life look a little easy for my 11-year-old daughter at the time. Everybody's seen the Willy Wonka movie. And I thought, maybe I need to reevaluate. So I turned that down and I bought a donut shop and we rebranded. And it went so well with my daughter that we decided to franchise. And here we are. She's the pink one, and I'm the Nutella one behind us. We're in the logo. We're on the menu. We're like little M&Ms.
And I
Wow.
love desert. Desert donuts makes me want to say dessert
Yeah.
donuts, but then it makes me look again and go, oh, desert donuts.
We did that on
Okay.
purpose. Yeah, we kept it on purpose. We the mentors said, "Hey, do you want to change the name since you're franchise?" And I said, "No, everybody's constantly moving to Arizona. Why don't we bring Arizona to every other state now?" And that's what we're doing, bringing a little Arizona sunshine to all the other states, starting with
That
Colorado.
is awesome. And Char, how about now? I know the name of your, well, you have so many different businesses. You're doing so many other things. Tell us, tell us what you want to talk about today in terms of introducing yourself, because we could spend an hour just introducing you.
Well, between assisting my husband in running our IT company.
Right.
I am currently working to be in the senior sector because I am one, and to help bring technology and safe products into seniors to them in their homes, to their caregivers, all the entire gamut of things that aren't taken care of because right now we have a crisis in our country and it's our seniors are the most underserved part of our population.
You won't get any argument from me on that. That is absolutely true. Give us a fun fact.
A fun fact, probably that I'm 19 years older than my husband. How's that?
I love it. I love that.
And we've been married 32 years.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And she tell him just really the really short version of the Campbell's soup thing or the
Yeah.
Red Lobster, one of those two.
Well, I've been in, even though I've had many different types of jobs, my world has somehow been consumed by and around food and food products. I opened the Art Institute of Dallas Culinary School here. I developed recipes for all different types of restaurants when I lived in Florida. I am a professional recipe writer, if there is such a thing.
There
I
is.
well, and it's funny because people always think that, there's secret recipes, but really there isn't. You just go to the food lab and have them do the analysis, and they'll tell you down to the most minute factor of what's in your food. Um, I I worked for Campbell Soup for a while, and my kids were young at the time, so they were the Campbell Soup, the twins dressed up at the food shows.
Oh
So
my goodness.
they had a great time growing up with that. I represented the deli bakery industry in the state of Florida when I lived there, and set up the deli bakery program for Pepperidge Farm and Campbell Soup because they're this under the same umbrella. So I've had tons of food experience. I had a catering business. I was you know, a, a, a personal chef for many years with my son. He helped me. And I worked for a company that sold bulk CO2. So I was bubbles. I put the carbonation in all of your fountain drinks and sometimes beer. But so I've had just like many things surround me with food, and I just so many things that there's things I'm not even mentioning, but
I love it. I love it. Yeah, you guys, she's gonna write a whole book about that. Michael, what's
Right.
your fun fact?
A fun fact. That's awesome, Char, about the Campbell soups and all that stuff. And it sounds like that I need your palate to come taste my donuts. That's going to be good. Let's see.
gladly.
Yeah. Let's see. In 1996, a lot of people don't realize I became actually in 2016. Sorry, I confused the years. I became Batman, actually. You see, my purpose, which I'm sure we'll get to, is my daughter, right? She's 14 now. But in 2016, in kindergarten, I paid a company to create a bat suit for me, build one for $3,000 in Canada to fit me perfectly, not like a costume, a real bat suit. And I showed up and read a bat story. And she believed I was Batman more than there was a Santa Claus, probably up until she was 10, because it's a pretty cool suit. So every girl should, yeah, needs a hero, and it should start with your dad. So I was
Oh,
that dad.
I love it. Oh, that is amazing. Well, we have to see pictures of that for sure.
Oh, let me tell you, if you go to ramensworld.com on YouTube, we do have a cooking channel with me in the bat suit
Oh,
cooking ramen noodles with different things. So it's ramens, RAMENS
put it in the
world.
chat. Put it
All
in the
connected.
chat. Put
I'll
it
put
in
it in
the
the
chat
chat.
for us. That's awesome.
You'll love it. You'll love it.
All right, let's get into the stories here. So, becoming an author, and I know this completely my own experience too, is the one of the very fastest ways to build authority in your business and your life and share the heart behind your business. So I'm going to go to each one of you. And Char, you're really a first-time author from our new book, Built with Purpose. Those of you who don't know, this just came out. We're so excited. We actually have them in our hand this week. I don't think we had them last week, or Chuck did. Yeah. So Char's here, over here, and Michael's around here somewhere. Oh yeah, you got our big. So Char, as a new first-time author, first of all, what inspired you to be a part of this book, and what did the whole experience mean to you personally?
Well, I had this amazing change of focus and direction when my husband became ill. And I just wanted people to realize how important the issue is of helping seniors and our senior population and teaching them not to be afraid of technology. And we see that a lot in our IT company, that people are afraid of AI when they don't understand that it's not a judgy thing. It never judges you. It won't laugh if you're slow. You can ask it the same question 1,000 times. It's unlike anybody else that you know. And to understand that it's really not a person, it's a thing, it's technology. And it can help you if you know how to use it. And between that and also trying to bring about services for seniors into their home, trusted services for caregivers, and help seniors age in place, that they don't have to go into a home if they can be provided with the services that their family just can't seem to find on their own. So that's what inspired me to write my chapter, because I went from just working in IT with my husband to all of a sudden transforming into seeing how inadequate the healthcare system is, and then realizing that he's not even a senior, I am, that I couldn't, as the oldest of the two, I couldn't even source the resources that we needed. So it was just something that people need to understand, that there's a place in your life where you need to, number one, know everything about your partner and know where to find their passwords if they're not around, and know that to expect the unexpected, because it's going to happen sooner or later in one way, shape, or form. And you need to know that it's coming, and you need to be prepared. So my goal is to try and help people overcome issues that when you think you can't do it by yourself, you're going to be amazed where that inner strength comes from. When I was all alone and had nobody to help me run this business with technicians, and when your partner is in the ICU for 45 days and you have to go to the hospital every day and you have to run a business every day by yourself and take care of his 3 kitty cats. But I did it, and it just, I found the strength. And I just want people to know that even in your worst moment, you can find the strength to pull through. You just have to believe. And I just prayed every day for clarity, that I would find the things that I needed to do. And I did. And I survived. And that's my whole goal now, is to tell people you can do it. You matter. You're important.
I love it. And I was there when all this happened, and we're going to get into that part of the story in a little bit here.
It's a
But I
zinger.
am curious, as the first time author, Char, and then we're going to move and I want to hear all about from Michael here. But did anything surprise you about being an author for the first time? Like just the feeling of, actually having a book, and what surprised you about it?
Well, because of it, and the marketing that was behind it, the push to let everybody know, and how everybody participated in doing that, I've had so far 3 podcast requests and 3 chances to speak to groups that are coming up. So right away, it hasn't even been a month, and people have already noticed. So I mean, I'm overwhelmed, because I always tell people you need to write a book. So when I got in the book, I need to mind my own advice.
Watch what you wish for.
That's right. I
Hey.
love it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I don't know if my family is because I'm not here. The cats are always looking for me to feed them. And Jay's like, you have another appointment. But yes, I love it. It's great.
Awesome. Michael, what about you? What inspired you to be in this book? Because you like jumped on board when you heard me talk about it like instantly. We were
He
at an
was all
actual
over
event.
it.
Oh yeah, we were at an in-person event and I said, "We're doing this book." And he goes, "I want in." And I'm like, "Okay." So what did that? And this isn't your first book. Kind of it's your first book with your story in it, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, tell us about your experience here.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, at that event, it was pretty amazing. The book's right behind you. The one thing that got me was the end of the title, purpose. That word spoke to me, and when things speak to me, I learn to act on them. And I learned about a different P word many years back from mentors, and that P word was called passion. Daryl Dennison, teaching on the law of attraction at a seminar, it really spoke to me. She said, "What would you do if you had to do something every day for a week and not get paid for it?" And that would more closely align you with your passion. So when when I look at purpose and passion, I think they're synonymous to me. And here, learning what the book was going to be about with all the multiple authors, it spoke to me, and it pulled me back to a passion. I'm a big believer in that passions can evolve. You can have more than one, more than one purpose, more than one passion. My new passion started in 2011 with the birth of my daughter. Prior to that was speaking to small and large groups of audiences, and I did so in Scottsdale with other speakers and selling my ebooks in the back of the room with coaching packages. And so I saw this as a revisit back to my original purpose, which was that. So I'm thinking, that this book is going to allow me to revisit more speaking engagements and whatnot to be able to help others with many nuggets that they need to start their own businesses, to help them improve their existing businesses. That's what really spoke to me when I first met you, and I heard about that. I'm like, wow. And so I hopped on board. Absolutely.
I love it.
So, folks, as I have it in front of me, Michael, I've got your story right here. How's it feel to see it in print? Actually see it in print. It's one
Yes.
thing sending it to Fran, and Fran had her great edits and all of that, but all of a sudden you've got a quote up here, you've got your picture, it's in print. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
It was a very priceless moment. It's one of those things me and my daughter co-authored our kids' book, but to be able to get my message out and see that, and I feel bad for Fran. I thank her so much. I went back and forth. There were so many edits and there were so many back and forth. So I'm like, no, this one, no, this one. So she was a blessing to be very flexible with all the changes back and forth. But to see that and receive the book in my hand, and to put it in my shop at the Phoenix location, it'll be for sale there. So helping the authors get more exposure. It's just it's helping me pull me back to my original purpose, which was me describing, talking to audiences and getting back on the stage and teaching and all the stuff I learned in major industries to help people. So it's refreshing, and I'm 53 now, and it's pulling me back
Oh my
many years, over a
goodness.
decade. So it's exciting.
Char.
He's
Char,
a
how did
youngin'.
you? How did it feel to see this in print though? Like there is a whole other thing, right? It's in your head for years. You email it to Fran, and then it's like, wait, it's in print. Other people are gonna read this thing. How do you feel?
Sure.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking to Michael still.
Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, sure.
it's
Yeah.
exciting. It's very exciting. I mean, I've picked
Thanks.
it up and reread my chapter. I can't tell you how many times. And I'm like, oh, it sounds pretty good.
I love it. And by the way, everyone that's listening, if you have ever thought about becoming an author, just pay attention to what these two are sharing here. This is exactly what the experience looks like. It's hard to describe unless you actually do it, and then you open the box and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm famous.
And you feel excited. You
I
Well,
do.
know.
if
I
I can
know.
add one more thing real quick,
Sure, sure.
is another thing that really impressed me as again, I co-authored a book with my daughter, a kid's book, and I was unable to get to become a best-selling author with that, despite many efforts. And you guys dialed it in, and now we're best-selling authors on Amazon, and that is another priceless thing. That is a huge accolade to obtain. So you guys, so your team, you guys have dialed it in, and kudos and thank you for
Oh,
allowing us to be a part of that.
And
oh,
we're
thank
just getting going.
You just get started.
I
I
know
mean,
where to start.
really. Yeah, it's so
And
exciting.
and
So,
it didn't
okay,
even
so I
take a
do
day.
want to do this. I do want to do this because we keep on hearing the feedback, and Sue and I know this. Okay, you got to preview. Each of you, you need to preview your story and give us a little bit of a cliffhanger. Don't say the whole thing, but give us a nice little preview so that anyone watching this will go, and I will look up your pages and I'll announce that. But Michael, how about you? Give us a little preview and then a little cliffhanger to really get them in there.
Okay. Well, my 4 pages have a Navy flavor, have a military flavor,
Right.
which I chose that because I attribute my military experience as one of the things that has helped me be successful in multiple industries. I started at the bottom and rose to the top. Many CEO, VP, and GM positions I've held in multiple industries that I talk about in my chapter. And I give a little bit of some nuggets, some valuable nuggets that people could take away that are considering starting their own business. And it's pretty um, it's pretty unique. I have a unique perspective because my daughter, I keep going back to her, we co-parent, her mother and I, and she's a nurse. So my daughter, since 4 months, we've been splitting custody. So she's been able to see the worker life and the boss life. Like I talk about the boss life in my chapter. And when she could talk, when you asked her, what do you want to be when you grow up? Her answer was the boss. She didn't know in what, but she wanted to be the boss. So she's 14 now. She's got to see both sides of the coin, the entrepreneur life versus, the blue collar life, which there's nothing wrong with either. They're just different flavors. And so I give some powerful nuggets, and at the end, there's some powerful, uh, valuable statements that could help somebody get off the fence to start their business, rather than being on the sidelines and one day I'll do this, one day I'll do that. Well, today is now. And after reading those 4 pages, they should feel a little bit better.
That is awesome.
That's great.
I have to say this. So I owned a school for many years. So I had a tutoring and an after school program, summer camps, a private school, the whole 9 yards. And a huge part in 20 years that I was in that business was teaching entrepreneurship to kids. We would do little mini Shark Tank things. I'll never forget the time where there were these junior high boys, okay? That like junior high, the scariest time for parents to have their kids go through. And these boys, I remember a lady came in and said, "Do you think any of your kids would want to learn how to sew?" And these boys were creating their business for their business part. They said, "We want to learn." And I was like, what is that all about? They said, yeah, we're creating hats and shirts and we have this brand. They were going crazy over creating their business and they learned how to do that. And we taught them how to do business. And that was really my purpose and passion for 20 years of my life. And I kind of excited that Sherry, who's the head of our business with purpose, she wants to do something to bring the kids into that kind of thing and maybe continue what I was doing before. So maybe the two of you could get together and get your daughter involved, and maybe there's something you
Yeah,
guys could do with that part of business with purpose. I think that would be amazing.
I
So I don't
love
know
it.
if
And
Sherry's listening still, but yeah, that I think I want you
you,
two to get together for sure.
that's a
Yep.
great idea. Also, I did want to bring up, Michael, you know we are doing a whole new book on veterans,
Yes.
okay, from veterans too. So let's keep that in mind. Big shout out to all the veterans listening. And please get your story in that next book. We'll have more details in a second.
Yes.
And by the way, your page is 69. So, guys, if you want to read about Michael and figure out what all's going on in his world, go to page 69 of Built with Purpose. Okay. And
Char,
Char,
before
you're
Char
page
go,
17.
yes. So before
So,
Char goes, I want to jump in because I'm very close to Char. We're good friends. And the big, huge turning point she teased everybody about a little bit ago I was actually there. I was actually there, and her husband's an amazing man, younger man. We used to joke about the age difference, but I was literally there 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll never forget that day as long as I live. And so anyway, go ahead and share your story. I'll try not to cry.
And that's one thing I didn't talk about in the book, in my chapter, but Sue was actually here, and she drove me to the hospital after the ambulance left with my husband, and fortunately, I attribute his being able to be here with us today on the assessment from one of the people that came to the house with the ambulance, and he asked me, the gentleman, he was a younger man, much younger than my husband, but he said, tell me, did he talk to you? And I said, yes, he talked to me, and he just said, my head hurts, my head hurts. And he grabbed his neck and he said, oh my gosh, I have a stiff neck. And then that was it. He was gone. He was on the floor. And so he said, because he could talk to you, I don't believe you should go to a local hospital. He said, if it's up to you, I'm not a doctor, but I'm telling you, I do believe that it's possibly not a stroke, but something to do with your brain, he said, I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what it is, but he said, I think you need to go to a hospital that has brain trauma. And so I said, wherever you think, just tell me where you're going. So he told us, and Sue drove me there. And I attribute that to him being here, because he just felt the urge to speak up and say, if you take him here, I don't know if he'll make it. As a matter of fact, when Sue and I were there and they came into the room, they said, do you want us to help him? And I looked at them and I said, what do you mean, do I want you to help them? And he said, we have to ask that question. He said, because when you have, maybe a 5% chance of survival, we ask because we don't want to try and save them if you don't want them saved. And I was like, oh my gosh, we've been married 20 some odd years. Of course you got to save him. He said, well, he's got about a 5% chance of survival. And if he makes it one day, then you hope he makes it to 3 days. Once he makes it to 3 days, you wish for a week. If he makes it for a week, then he's almost ready to say he's going to survive. So it was like the most traumatic week ever. And I just, and in the meantime, poor Sue, she was getting ready to leave, and she had work that needed to be done on her camper. So my family came in from out of town, and I can't remember who fixed your camper for you, Sue. But someone in my family that was here visiting said, I'll take care of Sue. Just go back to the hospital. So she was able to leave because she had a whole tour that she was working on. But yeah, so we spent many days in the ICU, 45 days, and then we had to go to rehab for 4 weeks after that. And he came home and had to learn to walk and climb the stairs, and he had part paralysis on his right side, because in order to do the surgery to stop the bleeding and take that vessel that had broken from his aneurysm, they had to give him a medically induced stroke, which is what caused all the damage, not even the aneurysm itself. He would never have had any paralysis, but he woke up, and when he woke up, he had double vision, and to this day he still has vertigo. He goes to vestibular therapy, and he also has to go to vision therapy. It's gotten much better, but it's a long road. It's a big healing process, and it's different for every person. It's never the same. So it's been it's been quite the learning curve to try, and when you think you know something, you have no idea. You just absolutely have faced the unknown. And of course, the crisis didn't derail my life. It more or less clarified it. And it's, managing alone didn't break me. It kind of revealed me. It made me figure out who I was. And the caregiving, didn't limit me. It actually expanded me because then my dad, and I have a little chapter in the book, a part of my chapter, my dad became seriously ill. So he lived with me till he just passed in October. But I mean, I learned so much about healthcare and the lack of healthcare and how to try and manage the system and try to get over your $1.8 million worth of medical debt. So that's my story.
Mm.
Brings back so many memories, and definitely if you haven't talked to Mark Haupt, who we interviewed last week, he's actually in the room right now. You guys need to talk, so connect with him. That's his passion. He has a story about his brother who didn't make it, and yeah, definitely talk to him. And you guys, you should all connect with Char. I'm just gonna say, when she said earlier that she had to run everything in her business, she did. And she did it. And it was hard. And there were many tears and there were many conversations. But,
Make mistakes.
she's so inspiring. And it's kind of like what I teach people when they're doing their business. Like this is a little business tip. Everybody should think about this. Think about Shar when you look at your business and say, if something like that happened, could my business run without me? And what is everything set up to continue, even if there's something drastic that happened to you? So
Mhm.
it's a really, really good lesson. And that's the kind of stories that I look for in this book. I'm looking for authors that have stories that teach a lesson as well. So thank you for sharing your story, Shar.
You're
So
welcome.
okay. Go ahead, Chuck.
And I do want to note too, right after it happened, Sue and I talked, and there were several of us at Alignable who were praying well past that first week. But that was it. That I remember how much of a nail biter that was, even from afar. And folks, the power of prayer,
Mm,
regardless of your religious
yep.
leanings or spirituality, it does help.
A
It does
hundred
help.
percent. 100%.
So as much as I would love to keep going with that, and we will
Yes.
in the future, I really want to shift to something else. We're going to talk about, many of you guys are thinking, well, how can I be an author and share my powerful story? Because I know every single one of you in this room has a story. Even if you don't think it's a story that people want to hear, I promise you, I 100 million% believe that someone out there could benefit and be inspired by your story. So, I'm going to start with Michael this time. What would you say to someone who feels like they have a story but questions whether or not it would be meaningful to other people?
That's a great question, Sue. The first thing that comes to my mind is Ray Kroc. Now, what if Ray Kroc would have let doubt creep in and he would have just kept that one burger shop in California and wouldn't have opened up, wouldn't have acted on that inner prompting. We wouldn't have McDonald's today, the Golden Arches, but it's done so much for the world in so many places despite the food, right? But I would say, if you have, for those of you that have that inner prompting, that feel that you do have a story to tell, but you have that inner doubt creeping in, like I don't know if anybody wants to hear this. I would say ignore that and explore to get that story out and do it, because if there's a prompting like that, it's there for a reason, and you don't want to cheat the world out on an experience that they could learn from your story, because everybody's got a story, and you never know if it's just one person that you can make smile, laugh, or just be here another day, because life gets hard. I'd say just do it. Go to the Nike commercial. Just do it.
I love it. While we're still on your part, if it's okay, Chuck, if we go to this part of it,
Yeah.
I know just a little bit about Michael's story with him and his daughter, because, you know, your purpose in your life, and when you said my purpose, my daughter, Chuck has a daughter, same exact thing. I feel like I'm
Same
listening
thing.
person because Chuck's whole life is of his daughter as well. And I absolutely love what you guys did with. Can you talk a little bit about your book that you wrote with your daughter and what it's about and how it all came to be?
Yeah, I sure can. Here it is. It's called Desert Donuts, the Magical Donut Shop. It's not just for the young, it's for the young at heart. And so it was a bucket list item that her and I had when she was 5 and 6, right? And to write a book together, and we made it come to fruition. We It's about a dad teaching his daughter about a valuable life lesson of self-discovery. Like she in the book, she's the pink one, right? She's like, why am I round? Why am I pink? Why do I have rainbow sprinkles? And she's not interacting with her friends. A lot of kids struggle with that, and they're growing up. And so, as a parent, we can either solve the problem or we can redirect, right? So I chose to redirect and take her to magical lands. We go to three magical lands, and so as Chuck probably can attest, I don't know if you have boys or girls, but I got stuck. I got the kitchen with the fake food and the fake everything, and I had to fake eat for hours, right? So we kind of do that in the book, and I'm sure everybody's seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. We have our own Oompa Loompas. They're called marshmallows. They're little marshmallow characters. There's singing, there's dancing, there's mischief, and it's a lot of fun.
There's
And so
mischief.
there's mischief in there. There's these little mischief pie characters, and there's menu things on our menus in our shop that have become real characters in the book that are on our menu because we're not a typical donut shop. We're a cook to order dessert shop, and so our donuts we cook right in front of you. We have unique desserts you've never had before. A donut ice cream pie. I guarantee you've never had that before. A donut coffee shake. So the book served as a power mechanism to align with that purpose a little more in legacy. We only live once, right? And it's a book like built with purpose, and my kid's book. Those are going to outlive us. And I've heard you talk about it, Sue, a lot. Is these are the things that survive you. These are the things that do things to people when you're no longer there to do things to people or for people or to people. So seeing my daughter's name as a co-author on a book, I'm that dad. Here's a book. Here's a book. I mean, that is such a proud moment, priceless moment to have my 14-year-old daughter being an author, to be at Barnes and Noble doing book signings with her, that so she can experience the author life. It's things like that that have just been such a gratifying last 3 years of my life over all my businesses has been this fun partnership with my daughter and her not surfing her phone, no, being involved in the meetings, launching the book, writing the book, the plushie lines, the keychain. So all of that, Sue, it's been a fun Disneyland ride so far, and more to come.
I love that. And I really hope Sherry will connect with you guys because I have a feeling maybe there's something there that you guys could put together for Business with Purpose to help more kids because
Yeah.
or, I mean, that was, like I said, when I'm at my school, it's like when I watch those boys, those junior high boys who could be in so much trouble doing other stuff, was they were really focusing on this. And it's such a powerful thing to teach kids entrepreneurial skills. It's everything. It teaches them money. It teaches them all of those different things. So
She's been so inspirational to other kids that are coming in because we're doing more than just donuts at the shop. We're about more philanthropic stuff. We were just on News 3, Good Morning Arizona recently,
That's
to
a
where
great show, by the way.
like that, you
I've
like
been
that
on
show.
there. I
I
love
went
it.
to high school with Gina Maravilla, so she was our anchor.
Oh,
It was coincidental that it was a reunion moment. We were hugging. She's like, "Oh my God!" And so she interviewed Gracie, and it's so funny when you asked Char that question, and she thought you were asking me, and there was a silence. Well, that's what happened on national TV, not recently, within the last month, when Gina asked Gracie an important question, and Gracie's drizzling a donut on camera, and she had to ask it twice. Gracie, and it's on national TV with her ignoring the question. Oh, I'm sorry. But that show she was interviewing Gracie with next to two other Arizona misses, Miss North Phoenix and Miss North Phoenix and Miss Gilbert, and with their crowns and sashes. And I'm just sitting there as the dad going, "This is my kid on TV. Oh my God." But imagine the nervousness, right? And then she's ignoring the anchor, and I'm like nudging her, going,
you're like, that's my kid on TV ignoring the
but it worked.
anchor. Yeah.
It was annoying.
That's funny. I want to keep going with the whole thing around purpose because I
Yeah.
know both of you have really strong feelings about this. So a few weeks ago in my mastermind that we do every Friday, by the way, everyone should go to the Business with Purpose group and join our Friday mastermind. It's every single Friday. We've been doing it for the last 6 years. And it gives people a chance to raise their hand and ask a question or talk about a challenge they're going through. And someone asked a question and someone else raised their hand and said, well, how do I know what my purpose is? You guys talk about purpose and how that correlates with your business, but how do I even know what my purpose is? And she said that, and then like a whole bunch of people in the room were like, yeah, me too. A whole bunch of people they didn't understand what that meant, which surprised me because I lived my whole life around that. But then there's so many people, and we're hearing this all the time. And so, Michael, let's start with you, and then we're going to go to Char. What would you say to someone who feels stuck and doesn't know their purpose yet? And I mean, Char asked you the same question after that.
I was exactly in those shoes many years ago. I was probably mid 2000s, and and it's not tied to money. At the time I was making 30 to 60,000 a month in the mortgage industry. So, but I wasn't living my purpose. I wasn't in my passion. And Daryl Dennison was her name. She was teaching on the law of attraction. It was a seminar I was forced to attend by my employer, and that's what she said. She said, what would you do if money wasn't an option? You had to do it for 40 hours a week. And she was guiding us to get to that purpose or that passion. And I started to really think about that. That hit me. She talked about much more, but that really hit me. And that's when I found my purpose, which was speaking to small, large groups of people. That's what I would do for free. And I acted on it, and it led me down a path. And then when I told you that purposes can, they can evolve, they can change, you can have more than one. I firmly believe that. My daughter was born. Chuck can attest to this. I'm sure he had a different purpose before his kids were born. Or how many do you have, Chuck? Two, one?
Just one that I know of.
Just one?
Yeah.
See, so once that happened, things changed, right? And any parent will say that. So, that's I say, lean on that. What would you do if money wasn't an option and you had to do it every day for 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, but not get paid for it? And I believe that will take you more closer to that answer of what your purpose is. And that's the best advice I can give that I took that worked for me.
Awesome, Char. Let's hear your take on that whole thing.
Well, to me personally, it's like every person meets a position, or I'll liken it to a stream, a current that you didn't choose. Okay, and sometimes it knocks you off balance, sometimes it teaches you how to stand. And I like to think that we're kind of more like trees standing on the riverbank, and we're bent by change, and perhaps we're shaped by what we decide we're going to hold on to in our minds. But once we let go of that, and you realize you're leaning this way or you're leaning that way, eventually you're going to just fall upon your purpose. Because like when my dad left me and I had taken care of him for so long, and I helped him do his last wish on earth was to publish a book. And guess what? Sue told me the format, helped me with it, and said, do it now, do it now. And I did it now, and he was over the moon. So loss did not define me, purpose did.
Oh, yes, that was an amazing thing. I met Char's dad, who was just a trip. Like, he was one of the funniest people. He would make up stories, just make up stories. He says, Sue, where are you from? I said, Geneva, Nebraska. Tell me a little bit about it. Oh, it's like Mayberry, a little town, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I rode horses just, around town. And he wrote a story in his book about Sue and her town of Geneva and just made a bunch of stuff up. He was so funny. And I'll never forget saying, you know what, Char, I'm really busy with all this stuff going on. I was still working at Alignable at the time. I said, I'm going to help him get his book published because I was there. I got to talk to him and I said, I have to. And I remember you telling Char, when he was in the hospital in his last week or few days, right? He had it on the
nightstand.
on the stand, and people came in and said some stuff to him, right?
Yeah, and they kept saying, you're an author? You wrote a book? Yeah, I mean, everybody, his doctors, his nurses, he made me bring it up there because he wanted people to see he wrote a book. And when you're 94 years old, you've spent most of your life, not digitally, but physically holding books and reading. And that man read all the time. Sadly for him, his body gave out, his mind never did. I mean, he was brilliant. And so it was like the book is nonsensical, it's silly, you wouldn't really probably even want to buy it. But to him, it was all from his head. It was silly, simple stories. And he just was so excited over it. And Sue and I kept saying, oh my gosh, what is this? We had the funniest, I mean, we had the best time laughing over what he was composing for stories. And of course, he called the book Smiles. And I mean, he just was so full of just stories, and I recorded his stories as well, and so I have lots more to write about Dad to finish his book for the grandchildren and the great grandchildren, because I made him sit there. And I mean, he was from the era where you had ragmen, horses with carriages, and they sold rags to people to use clean, and icemen with horse and buggies. So he had the most amazing stories of all, things that you wouldn't even think of today. But and the younger people, they won't even know. They'll say, "What's what's an iceman?" You know, of course they don't even know what a milkman is. But yeah, yeah. So it's amazing. But yeah, that's books to him. That's what you could hold. That was his life. He read till the day he died. Practically, he read.
Wow.
So two things. I want to get my hands on that book. Okay. So I'm going to reach out to you on that. Okay. And secondly, and I'm not sure if he inspired me to ask for it, in fact, but that's a whole other story. Secondly, we do want to open up the chat for folks in our final minutes to talk about whether you feel that you found your purpose or not, because it is a big question, and we'll be digging into that more in other shows and probably other books. But it's a big deal, and hey, there's no right answer or wrong answer, but it's a great thing to think about. Because a lot of us are like, well, are we fulfilling our purposes? And I do believe we have several purposes, but you want to be fulfilling at least a couple of them. So
Awesome.
that's
Sherry,
where we're coming from.
we're down to like 8 minutes, but is there a couple of any questions in there that came up, Sherry?
There's no questions in the chat. Just amazing. Lot of kudos to the two of you. Very inspiring stories. But I am not seeing any questions.
I want to do a quick shout out. Rebecca Bortner is here, and Rebecca, if you can come on, I think that she sent me a nice little note. Rebecca and I used to work on, I believe it was the Harley Davidson 100th anniversary, which was 23 years ago. And so that's fascinating. Good to see you, Rebecca. This is how this whole thing works here on Alignable too. Like, you will find people you worked with 20 years ago, and it's just, I've got chills. It's just very exciting.
Awesome. And I'm sorry we're not going to be able to answer live questions because we're just to the very, very end. And I want to make sure these two have a chance to tell everybody how they can connect with them. You could put the details in the chat if you want, so everybody can. But and any last minute thoughts or things that you want to let the audience know, especially about why they should maybe consider being in one of the new books. We have books coming out, one for women entrepreneurs, women in construction, reinvented entrepreneurs. How many have reinvented their lives about a bunch of times? Veterans. I forgot the other one. Pet business owners. We have a lot of new ones coming up. So you can always go to, actually, it's a new link. I will send that in there, but businesswithpurpose.org, you can get to it that way. So let's go to each one. Char, go first. What is like a last thing that you want to say real quick, but tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
Well, the easiest way to get in touch with me is look at my Alignable profile because there's things that I do that we don't even talk about. I've been a ghostwriter for many, many years, and that's part of the program that I did in. But I'd like to say that, you know, we've seen firsthand how curiosity can unlock visions in your head, and your story. Every single one of you has a story, whether you can think of it right now, but you have a story to tell, and don't let technology pass you by because you're afraid to ask for some help and have someone, because that's what Sue and Fran do. They assist you and will pass it through AI to make sure that it reads well and everything. And just let it empower you, because your story is, it matters. Your legacy is still happening every day until you're gone. And then sometimes you find the stuff, your family will find the rest of your legacy that you even forgot to tell them about. But it never ends, and it's still going on today.
Awesome. Yeah, put a link to how they can reach you in the chat. That would be
Sure.
great. Any links at all, you two. And Michael, tell us how everybody can reach you.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat, and I would say to everybody, um, look at some of the people if they listen to their self-doubt, if they didn't move on their purpose or their passions. Look at Michael Jackson. We would have never had the stage graced in such a way that he did, or our ears graced with Elvis, or the excitement Michael Jordan created on the court. So it doesn't have to be that big. I can name dozens of names you've never heard of that just did one thing that I saw them living in their purpose throughout my years that weren't as big as a Michael Jackson or an Elvis or whatnot. But it doesn't have to be that big. Purpose isn't measured in length like that. It could just be one thing that you did. If you wouldn't have did it, that wouldn't have happened. So keep that in mind. And I want to end with this. Energy follows where your money goes. Now there is an investment with this that I had to make with your books, right? Nothing's for free. But energy follows where your money goes. I learned that from a very powerful mentor years ago. And you'll see some amazing things and doors open. I'm sure Sue talks about it a lot. There's doors that will open for you that you didn't even know existed. So if you do have a story to tell, this is a great medium with a very low cost investment. There's much more expensive things out there with little reward. This is huge reward. I mean, we became best-selling authors overnight that I couldn't have
Overnight.
done on my
Well,
Yeah.
own, with a very small investment that is going to be recouped from book sales in a short amount of time. So the ROI, for those of you thinking along those lines, is there. And for those of you not looking for an ROI, just the intrinsic feeling that you heard Char talk about a minute ago and me talk about, the pride, the seeing your stuff in print like that, whether you sell a book or not, that right there is worth it all. So that's all I had to say.
I have chills.
It's so great. It's so great. And also, you guys brought up, but I want to hammer this home. Folks, your words matter. Okay? Your words do matter. And amplifying your voices, that's one of the things Sue and I have been doing long before Business with Purpose. But this is another way we can do it. And Sherry and the rest of the team with Business with Purpose, that's what we're here for. We're really here for you guys, you know? So go ahead and take advantage of this great opportunity. And people are getting so excited. You should see my LinkedIn posts. People I haven't heard from in 10 years are excited about this. I heard from a grad school person back in I'm not going to say when that grad school was, but she's like, "Oh, I want to read your story." And I'm like, "Fantastic. I haven't talked to you in 35 years." You know? So it's powerful.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for being here today. Thanks for sticking it out. We're here every single week, every single Wednesday. So go to the Business with Purpose group on Alignable, businesswithpurpose.org. You can find everything there. We're actually redoing the website. It'll be up shortly, but you can go there, go find our Business with Purpose group on Alignable. Tell everybody who's a business owner. If you are a part of the authors and you get in one of our upcoming books, you get to be in a private authors group, and we have so much fun in there. We just did our first networking, so you'll build lots of relationships. And thank you all for being here. Thanks, Chuck, for being such a great co-host. Char,
You too.
Michael, you're amazing. Thank you for your heartfelt stories. I love it.
Thank you,
Have a
well,
everyone.
great
thank you, Sue and Chuck, for having us.
Great
Thank you.
stories. Thanks for
Thank
being
everybody for
here.
tuning in. We appreciate your time.
And we'll
Yes,
see
thank
you
you,
next
everyone, for
week.
being here.
Awesome. See you soon, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.